Are people falling out of love with Obama? That's an interesting question. We'll talk about that this weekend video. I hope you're having a nice weekend. You and I, if you're like me at least, have never really much liked Barack Obama. But we're in the minority. Most of America was head over heels in love with Barack Obama. And throughout the first couple of years of his presidency, even as the economy soured, even as there were perceptions that his presidency was failing, it affected his job approval rating, but not his personal favorability. So there are two methods we use to measure politicians. One is you ask people, do you have a favorable or an unfavorable opinion of Barack Obama? And that's more of a personal rating. And then afterwards you say, do you approve or disapprove of the job Barack Obama is doing as president? That's more related to the functions of the office. Now, for the most part, American presidents almost always have a 8 or 10 point higher favorability rating than they do a job rating. People say, I really like him as a person, but I don't really much like what he's doing as president. Now, the exception to that was Bill Clinton, who after the Lewinsky scandal had a job approval up in the low 60s and a favorability rate down in the mid 40s. People would say, I hate him as a person. I think he's awful, but I think he's doing a pretty good job as president. But then with Bush, it restored itself to a higher favorability than job approval. And under Obama, it's been very much a higher favorability than job approval. But what has happened in the last really 2 or 3 months has been that Obama's favorability has suffered and dropped even more significantly in some polls than his job approval. The New York Times CBS poll, for the first time, has his personal favorability 4 points lower than his job approval. And the ABC Washington Post poll shows sharp declines in his favorability among all voters and among young voters, Latinos, and African-American voters. As we spoke about it in a video a few days ago, the African-American voters have dropped from 83 to 58% favorability on Obama in 5 months. He's losing over a point a week. So what's really changing among those of people that always liked Obama, not us, but the other people, is that they're reading personal traits into Obama that they don't like. Things like weakness or hypocrisy, or he can give a speech but he can't do anything else, incompetence, lack of leadership, lack of flexibility. And lately, with his class warfare effort, he's been hurting himself because he no longer is the dignified president of all the people. He's no longer the person who says we're one people and one nation. Instead, it's us against them. And he comes across as a partisan warrior, a class warrior, rather than an ecumenic leader of the country. So I think that he's suffering a lot. And I think what's going on is that Democrats and liberals and left-leaning independents are now turning on against Obama, not only because they're disappointed with the outcome of his presidency, but because they're very disappointed in the man himself. And that's really new. That's really important. So I wanted to point it out to you. So have a nice weekend and see you all for lunch on Monday.